Claire, how do you feed concentrate to the calves and prepare them for weaning?
Concentrates offered from day one. When they're in the individual pens in here, there's a bucket of water and a bucket of meal for each calf. Once they're in the group pens, then their truck has all kept that sort of kept fresh at them, little and often kept it topped up. So they've got access to it from day one. Little things that made a difference was swapping. Used to have the trucks hanging on the outside, flicking them to the inside. Got calves eating meal younger and eating more. So we simple things like that, and then ad-lib access to very finely chopped straw as well. By week 7 is when we start doing our drop down. So we're going from 8 litres of milk and we straight away drop it down to 6 litres and hold them there at 6 litres for a week. That drop down from 8 to 6 really gets them eating that wee bit more concentrate in that week. Prior to that, they're probably eating about a kilo of starter up to that. And then once dropping down to 6, quickly go up to about 2 kilo. Hold them there for 6 litres for a week, and then gradually dropping down about a third of a litre a day. So it takes another 2 weeks. So they're weaned by 10 weeks, 70 days. By that stage, they're usually eating close to about 3 kilo of starter. After that, they stay in ad-lib concentrate or ad-lib starter till 4 months. Post-weaning, then they stay in that ad-lib starter till 4 months along with chopped straw.
Research has shown that the more milk we feed in those first 8 weeks leads to improved development in that pre-weaning period, improved heifer performance, improved milk production in the first and second lactation, but also improved fertility and longevity of cows in the herd. Feeding 8 litres versus feeding 4 litres per day to heifer calves improved pre-weaning growth performance. It improved milk production in the first lactation and second lactation, as well as conception rates in the second lactation. But aside from that, survivability in cows was doubled by the 5th lactation. When decreasing milk allowance, it's important to ensure that we don't make too large drops at any one time. For every 2 litres we're taking off that calf, we should give that calf approximately a week. This allows the calf to ensure that it can increase its starter intake appropriately to ensure that energy intake is maintained throughout the weaning process. Dips in energy intake during this period will lead to stress and potential setbacks in growth. Feed conversion at this stage is at its highest point. As the calf gets older and develops, the feed conversion will reduce. After weaning, it's important to ensure we don't make too many changes. So we keep feeding that calf on the same diet that it's been fed up until this point. So for those few weeks after weaning, offering ad-lib starter and forage as we have done to ensure that we maintain growth rates of 0.9 to a kilo per day. To minimise stress during weaning, it's important that we make one change at a time. As we're reducing the milk allowance, when we're making changes in the environment or other grouping changes, this can lead to unnecessary stress that will lead potentially to health challenges such as pneumonia. Claire, how do you manage weaning from an environmental and grouping perspective?
Well, the pens of 10 stays the pens of 10 from the day they're born till 6 months old. So there's no group change in post-weaning. The gradual weaning itself, dropping the milk down very gradually. It's a 3-week weaning, basically, with the milk. Try to have them fully vaccinated before they start the weaning process. So their first jab is done at 2 weeks and then again at 6 weeks. And then I start the weaning process at week 7. So they're fully covered pneumonia-wise, vaccinated. They're also dehorned about week 4, week 5. So they're dehorned as well. So that's stressors out of the system.
It's important that throughout the pre-weaning period, the calf has access to water. In the first few weeks of life, this is important because the calf needs to be able to rehydrate itself when it becomes dehydrated due to either stress or diarrhea. In terms of rumen development, water plays an important part in that it introduces bacteria to the rumen. Research has shown that the earlier water is introduced, the higher the starter intake is, and this will lead to improved weaning performance. By 6 or 7 weeks old, the calf should be consuming at least half a kilo a day of starter. Once we start to reduce milk intake, the calf will accelerate this intake of starter feed. That by the point we've taken the calf off milk completely, it's consuming at least 2 kilos per day. Calves will have a preference to consume forages such as silage or hay. However, when they're consuming these forages, they maybe fill themselves on these and then reduce their intake of calf starter. It's important that while we're preparing this calf for weaning and feeding that calf starter from an early age, that we're providing access to forage as well. Chopped straw is quite typically used. We can get good intakes on it, but it also is cleaning the rumen wall while managing rumen pH. Although starter intake in the first few weeks is going to be very low, it's important that we give calves access to it early on so they have an opportunity to taste it and to initiate intakes.